The iconic sitcom Hogan's Heroes, which aired from 1965 to 1971, introduced audiences to a cast of unforgettable characters, blending humor with the backdrop of a World War II POW camp. Behind the laughter, however, many of the talented actors who brought these roles to life faced tragic and premature deaths. From unexpected health battles to accidents, several cast members left us too soon. In this post, we'll take a closer look at the lives of the Hogan's Heroes stars who tragically passed away, remembering their contributions to television and the lasting impact they left on fans and the industry. Join us in honoring their memory. Bob Crane was born on July 13, 1928, and played the sharp-witted Colonel Hogan in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 37. As the cocky, quick-talking American POW leader, Crane's charisma defined the show's appeal, but behind his boyish smile was a life spiraling into darkness. While Crane once thrived as a popular radio host and TV star, his career flatlined after Hogan's Heroes was canceled. He became obsessed with filming his sexual escapades with hundreds of women, many reportedly unaware they were being recorded. Crane's addiction to sex and pornography became uncontrollable, often facilitated by his friend John Carpenter, a video equipment salesman who doubled as his wingman and enabler. His marriage crumbled under the weight of infidelity, and his estranged second wife later revealed chilling details about his mood swings and fixation on voyeurism. Crane was found bludgeoned to death in a Scottsdale apartment on June 29, 1978, at age 49. His brutal murder remains officially unsolved, though Carpenter was tried and acquitted years later. John Banner, born January 28, 1910, played the lovable and clueless Sergeant Schultz in 1965 at age 55. With his iconic line, "I know nothing," he became a symbol of comedic innocence. Yet Banner's life before Hollywood was filled with trauma. A Jewish actor who fled Nazi-occupied Austria, he never truly recovered from the emotional scars. Despite his friendly TV persona, Banner was described by co-stars as volatile and deeply insecure about his weight and career longevity. He struggled with the idea of playing a Nazi officer, even a ridiculous one, and often drowned his anxieties in heavy drinking after shoots. His marriage to actress Christine Schoenbeck ended in bitterness, and he lived much of his later life alone in hotels, rarely socializing. By the early 70s, work had all but dried up, and he battled depression, reportedly weeping openly in public about being forgotten by Hollywood. A massive abdominal hemorrhage claimed his life on his 63rd birthday, January 28, 1973. Werner Clumper, born March 22, 1920, portrayed the bumbling Colonel Klink in 1965 at the age of 45, bringing absurdity and arrogance to the role of the inept German officer. Though beloved on-screen for his comedic incompetence, Klemper's real life was far more severe and haunted by guilt over his heritage as the son of a prominent Jewish conductor who fled Nazi Germany. He was intensely private and notoriously difficult in interviews, often deflecting any questions about his past. Despite winning multiple Emmys, his career stalled after the show ended, with casting directors wary of associating him with anything outside of Nazi caricature. Off-screen, he endured 2 rocky marriages, both marred by infidelity and bitter separations. His final relationship reportedly involved long periods of silence and emotional coldness. Colleagues described him as brilliant but moody, often retreating into silence on set and refusing to rehearse. Though never involved in major scandal, whispers in Hollywood suggested he was a domineering perfectionist who alienated collaborators. Clumper died of cancer on December 6, 2000, at age 80. Robert Clary, born March 1, 1926, took on the role of LeBeau in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at age 39. As the clever French POW with a passion for cuisine and sabotage, Clary brought flair and energy to the role. But behind his bright demeanor was one of the show's darkest real-life backstories. He was a Holocaust survivor, imprisoned at Buchenwald and losing most of his family to the camps. Clary rarely spoke of his past early in his career, instead immersing himself in showbiz. While he maintained a clean image publicly, he harbored deep resentment toward the industry's superficiality. He clashed with producers who wanted to exploit his Holocaust story for publicity, once storming off a set mid-shoot. His marriage to Natalie Cantor-Metzger, daughter of Eddie Cantor, was troubled by long separations and rumored affairs on both sides, with Clary retreating into work to avoid confrontation. In the 1980s, he became reclusive, suspicious of interviewers, and known for lashing out at fans who mentioned Hogan's heroes without acknowledging his real-life suffering. He died on November 16, 2022, at age 96, of natural causes. Larry Hovus was born on February 20, 1936, and played Sergeant Andrew Carter in Hogan's Heroes starting in 1965 at the age of 29. Carter, the lovable explosives expert, masked an odd contrast between his boyish charm and dangerous expertise, providing comic relief with an edge. Off-screen, however, Hovus's life was far less cheerful. Though he began as a singer and comedy writer, his career plateaued post-Hogan's, and he faded into obscurity, reportedly frustrated with being typecast. His personal life was marked by emotional detachment, his marriage crumbled quietly, and rumors suggested infidelity on both sides. Hovus was said to be a workaholic who obsessed over control in minor projects, making him difficult to collaborate with. There were whispers of him clashing with producers and being excluded from later TV revivals due to his demanding nature. Despite avoiding public scandal, insiders recall a man deeply bitter at being overlooked, plagued by paranoia that his career had been sabotaged. He died of cancer on September 9, 2003, at the age of 67. Richard Dawson, born November 20, 1932, played the charming, quick-witted Corporal Newkirk in 1965 at age 33. With his British accent and cocky swagger, Newkirk was a fan favorite, and Dawson leveraged that popularity into a game show career. But fame revealed his darker traits. On Family Feud, Dawson became infamous for kissing every female contestant, a habit later criticized as invasive and inappropriate. Behind the scenes, producers called him controlling and egotistical, reportedly blackballing staff who challenged him. He often showed up late, demanded script changes, and even forced out co-hosts he disliked. His first marriage to British actress Diana Dors ended in betrayal, with accusations of psychological abuse and jealousy. Their son later described Dawson as a tyrant at home and a flirt everywhere else. Dawson's drinking increased in the 80s, leading to erratic behavior and backstage blow-ups. Though he married a Feud contestant 25 years his junior later in life, friends said he became isolated, obsessed with legacy and resentment toward critics. Diagnosed with esophageal cancer, he died on June 2, 2012, at age 79. Ivan Dixon, born April 6, 1931, took on the role of Kinchloe in 1965 at the age of 34. Calm, capable, and quietly subversive, Kinchloe was the communications wizard in the POW camp, an understated backbone to the group. But off-screen, Dixon's story is a whirlwind of activism and frustration. Though hailed for his civil rights work and directing talents, Dixon became disillusioned with Hollywood's tokenism. He left acting entirely, citing systemic racism and a lack of substantive roles for black men. Friends said he was often angry, privately critical of fellow black actors who played along for fame. Behind closed doors, Dixon struggled with alienation and tension within his family. His children reportedly felt neglected by his activism-fueled absences. Industry insiders hinted at heated disputes on set, especially regarding scripts he felt perpetuated stereotypes. He died of kidney failure on March 16, 2008, aged 76, a brilliant but embittered figure who turned his back on stardom for principles. Sigurd Valdis, born September 21, 1935, joined Hogan's Heroes as Hilda in 1965 at age 30. Hilda, the flirtatious secretary with a knack for manipulation, mirrored Valdis's own life more than viewers knew. Her on-screen chemistry with Bob Crane became real. She married him in a lavish, attention-grabbing ceremony on set. But the fairy tale crumbled fast. Their marriage was plagued by Crane's spiraling sex addiction and violent behavior, exposing Valdis to the dark underbelly of his double life. She became entangled in his network of amateur pornography and was rumored to have known more about his secret filming habits than she ever admitted publicly. After Crane's brutal murder in 1978, Valdis withdrew from the industry entirely. For years she battled depression, financial instability, and rumors of addiction. Some claimed she became reclusive and paranoid, convinced she was being followed by those involved in Crane's still unsolved death. She died of lung cancer on October 14, 2007, at age 72, another casualty of a Hollywood love story gone grotesquely wrong. Leon Asin was born on September 18, 1907, and portrayed General Burkhalter in Hogan's Heroes beginning in 1965 at the age of 58. Burkhalter, the blustering and overbearing superior officer, was a caricature of militaristic rigidity, but Asin's real-life past was far darker. A Jewish refugee from Austria, Asin's parents died in the Holocaust, a trauma he buried beneath his thick comedic persona. He was haunted by survivor's guilt, and off-camera, colleagues noticed a heavy melancholia behind his gruff laughs. Though he worked steadily, Asin was often mocked in Hollywood for his thick accent, typecast in Nazi roles he quietly despised. His bitterness reportedly led to severe mood swings and tense interactions with producers. Rumors swirled of Asin berating younger actors, and he was said to have feuded with directors over being denied more serious roles. Despite this, he kept a stoic front until he passed from natural causes on June 3, 2005, at age 97, a haunted man who never outran the shadows of Europe's darkest hour. John Cedar was born on January 22, 1931, and joined Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 34 as the timid Corporal Langenscheidt, often the reluctant pawn in Hogan's intricate plans. Though his role seemed minor, his earnestness brought an authentic vulnerability to the screen. Yet behind the soft-spoken exterior was a man caught in the turbulence of Hollywood's shifting tides. Cedar's post-Hogan's career struggled to take flight. Despite his writing and directing ambitions, studios repeatedly turned him down, branding him as forgettable. Friends revealed his growing bitterness and drinking habit, which reportedly led to volatile outbursts on smaller sets in the 80s. He went through 2 divorces, with court records showing disputes over emotional abuse and financial instability. Though never front-page material, Cedar's quiet spiral was visible to insiders. Diagnosed with leukemia in his later years, he grew reclusive and estranged from many peers. He died on April 14, 2011, at 80, his legacy mostly overshadowed by regret and obscurity. Howard Kane, born January 2, 1926, stepped into the role of Major Hochstetter in 1966 at the age of 40. His portrayal of the fierce, paranoid Gestapo officer was so convincing it blurred lines. Kane, in truth, obsessed over perfection. Colleagues described him as intense, often rehearsing alone for hours, then lashing out at castmates who missed cues. His strict demeanor off-camera mirrored Hochstetter's, leading to isolation among the cast. Though he was a classically trained actor and respected by critics, Kane's abrasive temperament cost him roles. He reportedly clashed with producers and stormed off multiple sets post-Hogan's Heroes. While no scandals exploded publicly, industry gossip painted him as impossible to work with. Rumors of physical altercations on stage and verbal abuse toward junior staff swirled in the shadows. In his later years, he taught acting but was said to be domineering with students. He died of a heart attack on December 28, 1993, at 67, a man whose brilliance was devoured by his own intensity. Cynthia Lynn was born on April 2, 1937, and portrayed the alluring secretary Helga in 1965 at the age of 28. On screen, Helga exuded charm and resourcefulness, subtly aiding Hogan's covert operations from within Klink's office. Off-screen, Lynn's life was far from the pristine image she portrayed. Her romantic entanglement with Bob Crane, the show's lead, spiraled into a scandalous affair that fractured both of their personal lives. Crane's notorious sexual exploits and obsession with home pornography pulled Lynn into a dark circle of manipulation and jealousy. The affair ended bitterly, and Cynthia reportedly struggled with the aftermath for years. Her career stalled after Hogan's Heroes, with roles drying up amid whispers of her reputation and mental health issues. Her only child, born from a later relationship, distanced himself, allegedly citing emotional instability and resentment. Health complications plagued her final years, worsened by chronic hepatitis, and she passed away on March 10, 2014, at 77, from multiple organ failure. Edward Knight, born July 10, 1927, played the rigid Colonel Nicholas in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at age 38. As Nicholas, he brought tension to the show with his staunch loyalty to authority and frequent confrontations with Hogan. Behind the camera, Knight juggled a career as both actor and broadcast journalist, but his temperament made him difficult to work with. He was known for frequent clashes with directors, often walking off sets over creative disagreements. His personal life was marred by a volatile marriage, ending in a divorce where his ex-wife cited emotional manipulation and alleged infidelity. Rumors swirled for years about Knight's ties to a fringe political group in the late 70s, a scandal that almost cost him his radio career. Though he worked steadily in television, his name never commanded headlines. He died on October 10, 2009, at 82 from undisclosed causes. A man of talent and contradiction, Knight remained both prolific and polarizing until his final days. John Stevenson, born August 9, 1923, portrayed the austere Captain Mueller in 1965 at age 42. Mueller's stern demeanor was no act. Stevenson brought a natural severity that mirrored his real-life persona. Though best known for his prolific voice acting, lending his baritone to countless cartoons, Stevenson reportedly avoided fan events and public appearances, leading to whispers about an intense social phobia. He lived an intensely private life, reportedly estranged from family members over inheritance disputes. Former colleagues described him as reclusive and occasionally abrasive, with a perfectionist streak that alienated collaborators. Though no public scandal ever surfaced, rumors persisted that he once walked out on a major animated project over a pay dispute, blacklisting him briefly within the industry. Diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in his final years, Stevenson faded from public memory long before his death on May 15, 2015, at age 91. A voice known to millions, but a man few truly knew. Bernard Fox was born on May 11, 1927, and played the blundering Colonel Crittenden in 1965 at age 38. A role defined by comic ineptitude and accidental sabotage of Hogan's operations. Despite his warm screen presence, Fox harbored a lifelong grudge against Hollywood's typecasting of British actors. Known among colleagues for his sarcastic tongue and biting wit, he often belittled co-stars he deemed less trained. Rumors circulated about a toxic rivalry with fellow actors on Bewitched, where he had a recurring role. Although he maintained a long marriage, insiders claimed his obsession with perfection made him emotionally distant at home. Fox's alcoholism, quietly battled for decades, was an open secret among friends. He allegedly attended rehab more than once during the 80s. He rarely gave interviews, and when he did, he was unflinching in his disdain for the direction of modern television. Fox died of heart failure on December 14, 2016, at the age of 89. Leaving behind a career shadowed by bitterness and brilliance. Stuart Moss was born on November 27, 1937, and played the role of Olsen on Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 28. Olsen was a resourceful and pragmatic soldier, frequently assisting Hogan with his missions in ways that were integral to the plot. Moss, however, had an unsettling career path that belied his promising start. His filmography, which included notable roles in TV shows and films, gradually dwindled, with many of his projects failing to make an impact. As his career stalled, Moss's personal life took a tragic turn. He faced struggles with alcohol abuse, often becoming difficult to work with, leading to a number of professional setbacks. His relationships suffered as a result, including a messy divorce that made headlines due to allegations of emotional and financial manipulation. His tragic downfall became a cautionary tale in the industry, overshadowing his acting talent. Despite a life filled with personal turmoil, Moss continued to work intermittently. He passed away on September 13, 2017, at the age of 79 from a heart attack. John Crawford, born September 13, 1920, portrayed the role of the first Gestapo man in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 45. His character was a menacing, ruthless figure, representing the harsh reality of the Nazi regime during World War II. Crawford's career was mostly solid, marked by steady work in Hollywood, including several TV appearances. However, his off-screen life was far less predictable. Despite his seemingly calm demeanor, Crawford battled alcoholism for years, a struggle that affected his personal life and relationships with colleagues. His reputation was tarnished in the 1970s when he became embroiled in a scandal involving his erratic behavior on set, with reports suggesting he was difficult to work with and frequently clashed with directors. His marriage to actress Helen Crawford ended in a bitter divorce after his infidelities came to light. His life's challenges were compounded by the tragic death of his son in a car accident, which left him reeling for years. John Crawford died on September 21, 2010, at the age of 90 from a stroke. Dick Wilson, born July 30, 1916, portrayed Captain Gruber in Hogan's Heroes in 1966 at the age of 50. Wilson's role as the bumbling, often outwitted Nazi officer in the show was beloved, but it was his later fame as the face of Charmin toilet paper commercials that truly made him a household name. However, his success was not without its darker side. Despite his cheerful on-screen persona, Wilson's real life was filled with private battles. His marriage crumbled amid allegations of infidelity, and he became known for his abrasive, sometimes cruel behavior off-screen. His tendency to lash out at colleagues and his reputed obsession with perfectionism alienated many within the industry. Behind the public face of the affable Charmin man, Wilson struggled with severe depression, which contributed to his increasingly erratic behavior. He died on November 19, 2007, at the age of 91 from natural causes, but by then, his career had long since stalled, and his personal life had been overshadowed by years of regret and estrangement from those closest to him. Gnome Pitlick, born November 4, 1932, played Captain Herber on Hogan's Heroes in 1965, at the age of 33. Pitlick's role as the strict, often antagonistic Nazi officer made him a key player in the show's narrative, but his life off-camera was much darker. Known for his volatile temper and strict on-set rules, Pitlick's directorial career was often marred by reports of extreme on-set tension and his aggressive leadership style. His personal life was equally tumultuous, marked by multiple divorces and allegations of verbal abuse from former partners. Pitlick's struggles with substance abuse were well documented, and in his later years, he became reclusive, avoiding most public engagements and interviews. His health took a sharp decline, and he died on February 18, 1999, at the age of 66 from lung cancer, leaving behind a legacy of professional success overshadowed by personal demons. Arlene Martell, born April 14, 1936, portrayed Tiger in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 29. As Tiger, she was a brave and determined resistance fighter who quickly became a fan favorite. However, Martell's life off-screen was far more complicated than the strong character she portrayed. Throughout her career, she was known for her volatile relationships with men, many of whom were deeply involved in the Hollywood scene. Rumors swirled about her difficult temperament, and she developed a reputation for being difficult to work with. Her tumultuous relationships, coupled with her struggles with mental health, led to periods of isolation. Her later years were marked by financial instability and a series of personal crises, including a brief stay in a psychiatric hospital. Martell was famously secretive about her personal life, adding to the mystery and speculation surrounding her. She died on August 12, 2014, at the age of 78 from a heart attack, but the circumstances leading up to her death were marked by unresolved issues and emotional scars from her past. John Huitt, born October 5, 1905, played General Brunner on Hogan's Heroes in 1967, at the age of 62. Huitt's portrayal of the authoritarian, often formidable general was a standout role, but his career was marked by a series of personal struggles. Behind the scenes, Huitt was known for his cold, distant demeanor, which often strained his relationships with colleagues. His marriage to actress Jean Livingston, which was the subject of much public attention, ended in a bitter divorce amid accusations of emotional abuse and infidelity. The divorce led to a lengthy legal battle, during which Huitt's reputation took a significant hit. His health deteriorated in the later years of his life, with the actor battling the consequences of a long-term smoking habit. He died on September 15, 1991, at the age of 85 from lung cancer, leaving behind a career marked by both his iconic roles and the personal turmoil that plagued him throughout his life. Sandy Kenyon, born August 5, 1922, was cast as Captain Borman in Hogan's Heroes in 1966 at the age of 44. As the authoritarian officer, Kenyon's character often found himself in direct opposition to Hogan's cunning plans. Kenyon's career was filled with both successes and challenges. Although respected in the industry, he was notably absent from major projects post-Hogan's Heroes, and rumors suggested that his political views made him a target for industry blacklisting during the 1970s. His personal life, however, provided the most intrigue. Kenyon's marriage to longtime actress Vivian Maxwell was marred by financial instability, exacerbated by his tendency to invest in failed business ventures. As his career faltered, so did his marriage, ultimately ending in a bitter divorce. After the split, Kenyon became a recluse, with few public appearances, and his health began to deteriorate, reportedly due to the stress of his personal and professional failures. He passed away on February 20, 2010, at the age of 87 from kidney failure, his decline hastened by years of physical and emotional turmoil. Frank Marth, born July 29, 1922, played Captain Milheiser in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at the age of 43. His character was a strict military figure, embodying the inflexible authority of the German forces. Marth's career spanned several decades, but it wasn't without its ups and downs. Although he was recognized as a talented actor, his career was marred by a notorious incident in the late 1960s. Marth was infamously dropped from a major film project after his alleged involvement in a public altercation with the director, which led to rumors about his unprofessional behavior. The incident damaged his reputation, and Marth struggled to regain the trust of producers. His personal life was equally turbulent, with reports of a volatile marriage to his second wife, actress Dorothy Green. The couple's relationship was plagued by infidelity on Marth's part and constant arguments, eventually leading to their divorce. Marth's health also began to decline in the 1980s, suffering from chronic heart issues that worsened over time. He passed away on January 12, 2014, at the age of 91, succumbing to congestive heart failure. Henry Cordon, born January 6, 1920, appeared as Antonovich in Hogan's Heroes in 1965 at 45, portraying a clever, manipulative character involved in espionage. Known for his voice work, especially as Fred Flintstone, Cordon's career was relatively steady. However, his personal struggles told a different story. Cordon's marriage to his first wife, Dorothy, was fraught with tension, as his rising fame began to affect their relationship. He was also known for his affair with a co-star, which ultimately led to his first marriage ending in a highly publicized divorce. Despite his professional success, Cordon had a well-documented struggle with depression, which he battled privately for many years. His health took a toll in the 1990s, and he withdrew from acting. He died on May 19, 2005, at the age of 85, from emphysema, after a long battle with the illness that had kept him out of the limelight for years. Who's your favorite character in Hogan's Heroes? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.